Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Boss Moves Academy. I have missed you guys. I took a week off last week to celebrate the 1K subscribers, and I feel as you get older, it takes a bit longer to recover. But I'm back, and we've got a great episode lined up for you. Today, we're actually going to discuss something that every entrepreneur, leader, or professional goes through at some point in their career, and that's fear. Fear is ultimately one of the biggest blockers of your success, but it's also a sign of growth. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how you break through those fear barriers and learn how to take big risks that will ultimately help you launch your career forward. Let's start with the basics. What is fear? Fear is an innate emotional response that is wired in our brain as a survival mechanism. But here's the thing, in the world of business and entrepreneurship, fear actually poses as an obstacle instead of an opportunity. So how do we flip the script on fear and actually use it to propel us forward? When we experience fear, our brain releases chemicals like adrenaline, serotonin, and dopamine. These actually create a response called fight or flight, which enables us to react and respond quickly to a situation or stimulus. But in modern day business, this response can actually hinder us in multiple ways. It can cause us to freeze up at big moments, or even sabotage ourselves with opportunities that we actually want, or ultimately, it just stops us from taking any sort of risk, whether it be calculated or not. So what can we do to change that? The first step is understanding why the fear actually happens. Fear is pretty much your body's way of protecting you from the unknown and things outside of your control. But here's the secret. Fear is also an indicator that you're on the verge of something great. There's a great saying that says, on the other side of fear lies growth. And this is what this episode is about, how you channel that growth from using your fear and flipping it on its head overall. I want you to do something today. I want you to change your life, and I want you to do it by doing these things. Firstly, I want you to imagine yourself in a situation that made you feel uncomfortable or caused you some sort of fear. And I want you to reframe that feeling, that tightness in your chest, those sweaty palms. Instead of seeing it as an excuse for you to back down from a situation, I want you to grow a pair of balls and start using your fear as a source of energy to fuel your growth. They say great things happen once you step out of your comfort zone. And as a Christmas gift from me to you, and a Christmas gift from yourself to yourself, I want you to start seeing fear as growth instead of an obstacle stopping you from greatness. Now, there's a common trend with people that are successful in business and entrepreneurs that are successful overall. And they don't run away from fear, they lean into it. They treat each obstacle as a new challenge that they're going to overcome, as opposed to using it as an excuse not to better themselves. You need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. You should never be in a position where you're scared to take a calculated risk or any sort of risk that can potentially benefit you. They say that without great risk, there's no reward. Hold that in mind next time you think about business and or any other dream you want to accomplish. Taking risks doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do something reckless. It's about being strategic. There's a big difference between a blind risk and a calculated risk. And your job as a successful entrepreneur is to assess both and make sure that you're 100% clear of which risk you are taking. When you're faced with potential risks, you have to make educated decisions. You have to ask yourself, what are the rewards from making these potential risks? What are the potential failures that I can accomplish from taking this risk? How can this impact myself? How can this impact my business? How can this impact my family? There are a lot of questions you need to ask before you blindly jump into a decision. You need to calculate the perfect ratio between success and failure when dealing with risk. This means you need to calculate how high is the reward in comparison to how manageable the potential risk could be of failing. Once you establish that perfect ratio, for example, if you have a high reward and a very low risk, it might be worthwhile going forward with the opportunity. On the flip side, if the risk is very high and the reward doesn't really match up to what the risk you're about to take on is, then it probably isn't worth going forward. This is when you need to pause and reassess. Smart leaders don't just take risk on impulse. They weigh up the pros and cons and make the educated decisions once they have a clear picture of everything that's going on, and they always make sure that the rewards always outweigh the risk overall. Now, here's the part of the video where I have to be brutally honest. I always do it in every video, guys, and this is the part in this video. With every big risk, unfortunately, there is still the chance of failure. But this failure isn't necessarily the end of the road. It's just a stepping stone, a slight blimp in the road, they call it. You must use these failures as opportunities to learn from your mistakes and use it as a way to get better at assessing risk factors from the beginning, the pros and cons, weighing up the story. In fact, some of the world's most successful people have actually failed more than they have succeeded. The difference is they've actually developed a new mindset, and this is called the failure tolerance mindset. Steve Jobs from Apple was fired from the company. Elon Musk has failed multiple rocket launches, and Oprah was told that she wasn't even good enough for TV at one point. You can consider these failures of an individual, but look where they are today and ask yourself, why and how did they get there? It's the mindset. Now, these are just 3 examples of some very successful people that took big risks, ultimately faced some failures in their career, but used it as a powerful lesson to redefine their strategies and ultimately end up being very successful. So if these 3 individuals can do this, what's stopping you from making a change? So don't let the fear of failure or the fear of taking risks paralyze you in business. Use it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and implement new strategies in your day-to-day work and life. If you're not failing, it probably means you're not pushing yourself hard enough in business or even stepping outside your comfort zone to begin with. What you need to do when dealing with risk and fear is create a set plan. Now, here's an exercise you can do once you finish the video. I'll outline a few questions that you should be asking yourself that can hopefully help you. First question is, what risk am I afraid to take right now? Secondly, what are the rewards I can gain from actually taking this risk if it pays off? Thirdly, you want to ask yourself questions like, what is the worst case scenario if things go wrong? And finally, what can I learn from this experience? I also want you to share your experiences or risks you've taken down in the comments below, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also share these videos if it resonates with you. Thank you for watching today's episode, guys. This has been Aaron from the Boss Music Academy. Empower your hustle, master your future. Take care.